Hey, welcome to Practice, Practice, Practice. I'm your host, Nick Liebman, and I'm here to practice with you. So let's get to it. I'm just going to stretch out my fingers and my wrists a little bit. Join me, if you will. Someone asked me, Nick, do I really have to do this? Do I really have to stretch out my wrists every time I practice? No, you don't have to do this. I didn't do this when I was growing up. Now I gotta do this because I didn't do this when I was growing up. So I recommend doing it. You don't have to. You don't have to do anything, man. But it definitely helps me to get warmed up, just to know everything's gonna be okay. And if I have, when it really comes in handy, if you're playing for long periods of time, these practice sessions are shorter, 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes. But if you're going to be practicing for an hour, for more than an hour, it's especially important to do that. And if you're doing anything with some really intense picking or anything like that, you definitely want to be sure that you're ready for it, that you're not stressing yourself out, and you might get carpal tunnel or any other kinds of irritation, things like that, is no bueno. It's not good. So that's why you don't have to. That's fine. Now we're going to tune. Your E. A. D. G, we're in good shape. A little flat. Here's your B. High E. Let's talk about harmonics. That's a harmonic. Harmonics are basically other resonant frequencies in the string that exist when you mute the primary one. However, allow the string to keep vibrating enough to play those secondary and tertiary pitches, right? Maybe I will do something that's scripted that explains all that stuff. These are things I learned in music school. But long story short, there are certain frets where if you lightly touch your finger to the string in order to dampen the main note of the string, and also it's very good to pick this in a very live place because it makes a difference where you're picking it. So just right in the middle, right over your sound hole is a great place to pick. And this happens on certain frets very, very easily. The easiest place is right at your octave, that kind of double dot. Mine's just a bird, but that double dot, that octave, that's a place to do it, and it sounds the pitch the same as if you were holding it up here and sounding the pitch. So if I were holding the string down, if I were fretting it here, that's how that sounds. A harmonic gets you the same pitch when you do this on this fret, but it's got a very different quality. The sound is softer, it's rounder. You don't have that, when you're fretting a chord, the fret makes contact with the chord and creates this very, sort of just like, almost like it shortens the string entirely. Anything that's behind here is not resonating, right? So this is actually a little less resonant than having the entire length of the string to resonate that sound. So the harmonic, when you mute that, the primary pitch of the string, allows these secondary tunes to come out. It's kind of like a filter, like a light filter, like a prism in a way. Or this is more like a filter where it's kind of focusing just one color of light, right? And so in this case, when you do it at the 12th fret, it allows in the octave above the primary pitch. That is actually sounding when you play the string. You just can't quite make it out, but it's enhancing how that the pitch sounds. It kind of the makeup of those overtones, they're called, is what gives the quality of sound to anything you hear. If you hear a bell that's very rough, it has very loud overtones, so you can't even sometimes make out the pitch of the bell, or it's very complex because the overtones are very loud and very emphasized. But if you peel them away, it starts to sound more like a sine wave, more flat. Another place you can do that, 5th fret, right here at the 5th fret, and it's the octave above that. And then, of course, one of my favorites is the 7th fret. Now, the 7th fret is not going to get you the same pitch as your string. Right now, so far, we've done all the same pitch. That's all E. Interesting, you can tell if your low E string and high E string are in tune. If you do a 5th fret harmonic there and play your high E string open, they should be the same. 7th fret plays the 5th above the octave. I think that's right. So that would be like the 7th fret, 19th fret. I was right. That would be like playing the 19th fret. Just like that. Interestingly enough, that would be if I had a low B string. If anybody's ever seen a 7-string guitar that has a low B string, this would be the 7th fret on my E string harmonic would be the same pitch, the exact same pitch, as the 5th fret harmonic on my B string, because this is a B. And there we go. So the same holds true here for the E and the A string. This is my E, and if I play the 7th fret harmonic on the A string, it should sound an E. So that's another way to tune, and a very, very accurate way to tune. You want to get it so you hear very little undulation or you know, wobbling between them. Let me give you an example of what it sounds like when it's out of tune. Hear that? It's basically the waves of the two pitches getting slightly out of sync and having some destructive and constructive interference with each other, right? The closer they get to in tune, the smoother the pitch will be. Once they're in the exact same pitch, their sine waves will align. They'll have the same peaks and valleys, and you won't hear any interference like that. So how do you use harmonics when you're playing? I really enjoy, let's see, there's a song called Little Wing. Little Wing, which is by Jimmy Hendrix, also an excellent cover by Stevie Ray Vaughn out there. And you can actually, at the end of this video, I'll put a link to the playlist. I have the Practice playlist where I try and locate the album version, if I can, of any song, any cover that we work on together. And also sometimes I try to find a live version or something that's uncharacteristic. Sometimes I can't find the authorized version or something like that, so I'll try and find something there. So I'll try and find the Hendrix, original Hendrix version. I think that's on Axis Bold as Love, and the Stevie Ray Vaughn cover of it. And you can find that at the end of this video. Yeah, and if you guys have any questions or anything like that, please put them in the comments. I do read those comments, and I want to know if this is working for you. My hope is it just gets me and you in front of a guitar with our hands on the strings for a few minutes every day. How do you use harmonics? So in Little Wing, it has this great lick at the beginning. Sorry, I'm a little rusty on this. This is why we practice, you guys. So the way that should have sounded at the end of the lick, we hit the E. That's from the Stevie Ray Vaughn. I'm aping the Stevie Ray Vaughn version there. he's playing usually on a Fender Stratocaster, I think, and so he had a nice whammy bar tremolo in there that he could play with the harmonics, which is really cool. So that's one way you can throw it in. Basically, anytime you've got an E minor, you can throw that in, or anytime, like, if you're ending. I've got a song that ends on a nice A major chord, and maybe I'm playing with a couple of friends, and one of them's doing hand percussion. They're that's kind of spinning out, and I've, it's a nice little last note or last little flavor or something that you can throw in this. It's just a nice little flourish. One more thing on harmonics, the false harmonic. This is a really cool one. I don't like to use a pick for it. There is a technique for that, and what I'm going to do is study up on that before I bring it to practice, so that I know exactly what I'm doing. But the way that I like to do it is without a pick. Here's how this works. Just like when you have an open string, you can find the harmonic at the 12th fret, that first harmonic for the octave. If I am fretting the string anywhere, 12 frets above that will do the same thing. Unfortunately, I can't use my left hand to do the harmonic if I'm fretting the string down here. So you got to use your thumb in place of the other finger, and then I'm trying to give you an angle where you can kind of see what I'm doing. Pluck it with your index finger right behind it. So I'm going to fret it at the 3rd string here because I want a G harmonic. And on this is our 12th fret. Right? 1, 2, 3. This is 12 frets above the 3rd fret, 15th fret. Takes practice. So you can do that for any pitch, for anywhere you can fret the string. You can, with enough practice, get up there and make that pitch. So in reality, you could play an entire song in artificial harmonics like that, and you'll hear that a lot of real virtuosic guitar players find ways to add that to what they're doing. One other way to create a harmonic, and this is especially apparent if you're playing electric guitar and you've got a distortion pedal or any other kind of overdrive effect going, you'll hear almost anywhere that you see how you can even hear it a little bit in my acoustic guitar. I'm just going to slide up. So there are a number of pitches there. Okay, so let's just practice that. That's the thing to do. Play with these natural harmonics at the 12th fret, at the 5th fret, at the 7th fret. Play with some artificial harmonics. Work on your technique. I will too. And play around with some of those ones that are a little bit outside the box. I hope you like that. And then I wanted to also do a cover right at the end here that I've just been stuck in my head today. And I really wanted to play for you guys. Let me just find what I'm looking for. This tune is called, it's an old folk tune back from the hobo days, kind of 30s, rambling. And also featured in the film Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Big Rock Candy Mountain. And I hope you enjoy. One evening as the sun went down and the jungle fire were burning track, I'm a hobo hiking. He said, boy, not turning. I'm headed for the land that's far away, beside the crystal fountain. So come with me, we'll go see the big rock candy mountain. In the big rock candy mountain, a land that's fair and bright, where the handouts grow on bushes and you sleep out every night. And the boxcars all are empty and the sun shines every day. And the birds and bees and the cigarette trees, the lemonade springs, the bluebird sings in the big rock candy mountain. In the big rock candy mountain, all the cops have wooden legs, and the bulldogs all have rubber teeth, and the hens boil soft-boiled eggs. And the farmers' trees are full of fruit, and the barns are full of hay. Oh, I'm bound to go where there ain't no snow, where the rain don't fall and the wind don't blow, in the big rock candy mountain. In the big rock candy mountains, you never change your socks, and the little streams of alcohol come a-trickling down the rocks. And the brakemen have to tip their hat, and the rail bulls all are blind. There's a lake of stew and whiskey too, you can paddle around it in a big canoe, in the big rock candy mountain. Boom 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 boom. In the big rock candy mountain, all the jails are made of tin, and you can walk right out again just as soon as you are in. There ain't no short-handed shovels, no axes, saws, or picks. Well, I'm bound to go. Well, I'm bound to stay where they sleep all day, where they hung the jerk who invented work, in the big rock candy mountain. So that's the Big Rock Candy Mountain. It's got a lot of words, you guys, and my eyes aren't as good as they used to be. So anyway, but check that out. In just as you should see it now, subscribe to me and watch other practice sessions and watch the practice playlist. Play along with it. Thank you guys for coming out today for practicing, and I'll see you tomorrow.